Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a story time and a face today. So let's get right into it. Was tested. So yeah, we've got bruises and everything, and we'll talk about that. So anyway, like I said, I was primed. I'm gonna spray my face with some toner water. I'm gonna come closer. And I always like to start with my eyebrows. So anyway, a couple days ago, it's been like a week now, a week and a half, I was not feeling good. It started just like a regular, I guess, not respiratory infection, but I get a lot of like sinus infections and things like that, bad allergies. So that's kind of how it started. And I kept trying to like put all the symptoms off. So I had stuff like sore throat, stuffy / runny nose, and what is this? I don't know what pencil I'm even using. It's something cheap. And yeah, so it started like that: scratchy throat, runny, stuffy nose, headache. The headache was pretty bad, like a dull, constant headache. Then it moved on to TMI, but abdominal issues. Moved on to abdominal issues, and yeah. So again, nothing where I was like completely alarmed, where I'm like, oh, I need to go to the emergency room. No, none of that. So I just kind of like let that ride out, but still kind of like being precautious as I'm going out to like Walmart or the grocery store or whatever. In the whole midst of while this is going on, like I'm preparing for what's going on now, this complete shutdown. And so one morning, today is Saturday, Wednesday it was, I want to say, where the night before, my throat was kind of scratchy or whatever, but I felt like I thought I was getting better. And so I got up that morning before the kids even got up, and my throat was like super sore, like it was painful. And so I'm like, okay, that's strange. I noticed it when I got up that morning and I swallowed and it was super sore. So I thought that was strange, but whatever, nothing to write home about. So then I got up to go put a load of clothes in the wash, and I noticed that I couldn't breathe the way I normally would. And I already have asthma, so I know what a wheeze feels like. I know what an asthma attack feels like. This was different. I felt like something was lying on my chest. Like I literally couldn't take a deep breath in. And my breaths were very shallow. So that worried me. I took my pump, and I took some Dayquil actually for the sore throat, and I just was like not feeling great, like kind of flu-like. I definitely had some chills on and off. And so about 7 o'clock, I took my first puff of my Pro Air, and then I was kind of getting concerned, so I called my cousin. I talked to my mom about it, and I was kind of like, everything going on, I was worried. So I did try to call my doctor first. So I called my doctor first. Nobody answered. I am going to go in with the Black Opal in Rich Caramel as my overall foundation, now that I've got my brows together. And you might be asking where I'm going. Sis, I'm going to bed. Going to bed. So, got that on. I'm going to just let that sit there for a second. while I continue to talk, I'm probably going to take this Juvia's Place in number 16, and I'm going to use that to carve out my eyebrows. So yeah, my doctor didn't answer. So time kept going on. It felt like forever. It wasn't forever. It was about 8:30. I took another dose of my medicine because my breaths were not getting better. It was still shallow. It was still heavy. And I do have anxiety, so obviously that doesn't help. But so my cousin suggested that I call 911 because she looked online, and I told her my symptoms, and from what my symptoms were, it was suggested that I call. So I called. I spoke to the operator, and she asked me a series of questions, answered all those questions, and from that she decided that it was best to call the paramedics and have them come to my house. So again, I mean, I'm taking it serious enough, but not thinking that I thought they were just gonna come here and do like all their screening here at home. I didn't think I was going to the emergency room. So they came, they took my vitals, and my heart rate was elevated. And he explained to me that, you know, I told him I have like really bad anxiety. I told him that I had 2 doses of my Pro Air, which if you don't have asthma, or if you do have asthma, you should know that Pro Air can make your heart race, make you feel a little jittery, especially if you take it without a spacer. I'm just going to blend this concealer out from carving my brows. And I'm listening to YouTube as I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm addicted. So anyway, yeah. So he told me that my heart rate was elevated. That worried me. He had me call my PCP again, let them know that I was there. I'm going to spray my face again. Let them know that I was there with paramedics, and because at least where I live, you have to get basically a prescription from your doctor to even get you to the point from home to getting tested or to the hospital. So I gave him all my symptoms. Obviously my PCP knows that I have asthma, and he suggested the testing. So I got on the ambulance by myself. That was nerve-wracking enough. This is just a Real Techniques dirty sponge. I'm just using what I have at home. Typically on a normal day, I have everything at my studio, and I get ready there. I have my whole separate stash at the studio, and I just brought a couple things home just to have, I guess, for videos or whatever else I thought I was going to be doing during this lockdown. So I'm making do, and yeah, my sponge is dirty, but it's gonna work. So anyway, luckily in the ambulance I was there with I was there with more than 2 people, but the 2 paramedics that were actually assisting me the whole time were very nice. They were awesome. They were awesome. They made me feel less anxious. They were very helpful, informative. They answered all my questions. My main concerns at that time were my asthma and my kids. Like, if I do have it, how does this affect my kids, and blah blah blah. And you know, they pretty much told me exactly what we all know now. Not much. They told me what they could. They told me the patterns they've been noticing and how younger children have been doing a lot better with it for some reason. And at one point we thought it was just people, what was it, like 50 and up? That's not the case anymore. So me being 32, almost 33, I was nervous, and especially because I have an underlying illness, asthma, that made me even more nervous. So anyway, they took me from the ambulance to the hospital, Got there, they had the entire like urgent care, or no, emergency room part blocked off. Um, and it was, everybody was like suited up. Possible COVID case coming in, everybody suited up, masks, gowns, face guards, all of that. So that freaked me out a little bit. I think I'm gonna move on to my eyes now. I'll do my under eye after. So I just got the foundation and my brows done and sculpted. Just something quick and simple. Like I said, I ain't going nowhere. So we get to the emergency part. They take vitals again. They kind of like have communication with the paramedics to see what they've taken and versus what they're going to take. And so anyway, they go through all the normal stuff. They gave me an EKG. My doctor did suggest a chest x-ray, but they didn't give me one. That kind of bothered me. And I think the reason why is because I had already had 2 rounds of my Pro Air, so my lungs were clear. So in their eyes, they had no reason to give me an x-ray. Now, mind you, they said I was their first case of the day. This was at about, I would say, let's say 9:30 that I got there. I'm the first case of the day. Thank God, you know. In Connecticut, it hasn't gotten to the point of New York. And I know we haven't peaked yet, and I don't want to see it get any worse. But anyway, so hospital wasn't like too overcrowded, but it was very weird. Putting me on what is it called? Prednisone. It's a steroid for your lungs. Well, that's what I know it to be. I've been on prednisone before for my asthma. It helps strengthen your lungs. And so yeah, that's what I'm on. And I'm on my Pro Air every 4 hours. And let me get to these eyes. And I'm going to do something real basic and simple because I think I'm going to do browns. Like real basic. So yeah, so that's strange. So anyway, so they set me up to get that sort of like testing done, or no, not test, yeah, like preliminary testing done, and a prescription to get the actual test done. So what happens is they put the prescription in. They give you like a piece of paper. They tell you that somebody is going to call you and contact you for where you will be getting your testing done, when, and what time. I thought somebody was going to come to the house and test me. Just because, you know, I don't know. We're big. I'm sure everybody's hearing all kinds of things between the news, social media, you know, all that stuff. So anyway, I thought somebody was going to come to my house. No. So they called me and they're like, you got to meet me here, a designated place for this particular testing at such and such time. So fine, that was taking place the following, was it the following day? It was either the following day or the day after that, I can't remember. And so, I think it was the following day. And so, oh, and by the way, I'm using this Juvia's Place palette. What is this? The Masquerade Mini by Juvia's Place. And it's so pretty. I decided to take this palette with me because you can go from like neutrals to like glam in just one palette. So anyway, I'm going to be using that. And I took Burkina, I think that's how you pronounce it, on my lid. And I'm going to take Zulu and Fulani in my crease. I'm going to mix those two and bring those into the crease. So yeah. So I ended up going to go get the testing, stayed in my car the whole time. They test you right from your car. You have to follow instructions. You cannot roll your window down until they tell you to. And I did go with a face mask automatically just because out of concern for myself, but also for anybody else, you know. If I did have it, I wouldn't want to infect anybody else. So I wore my mask, which I have masks already, being that I'm a lash tech, but I also had the mask that they gave me when I actually was taken from the house to the ambulance. They wasn't playing. From the door to that ambulance, I had to put the mask on first. They had the outside kind of like blocked off. They didn't want to make a scene, although I felt like it was a scene for my area. But yeah. So anyway, the doctor was saying, you know, you're young, you're fairly healthy other than the whole asthma thing. And so I see you, like, you know, whatever this is, pulling out of this. Like, I don't see it being anything too concerning, but we want to worry about your asthma specifically. So fine. That's what the focus was on, was my asthma. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this in like a winged manner. So basically, what happened after that? So yes, I got the testing. They told me in the hospital, they told me about 3 days, like 48 hours. He said first, and then he said give it about 3 days. Everywhere else, I'm hearing a lot longer. So you know, I thought 3 days not bad. So here I am. It is Saturday. I still have not gotten my results. I feel a whole lot better than I did. And don't get me wrong, because as the day goes by, like if I'm doing too much or whatever, I do get a little winded. I do get a little tired and like drained. Sometimes I feel a little dizzy. I still have like the stomach issues or whatever, but nothing as concerning as the day that I actually called with the breathing issues. So my prednisone has really been helping, which is good. No complaints as far as that's concerned. So yeah, prednisone is helping. Taking my inhaler every 4 hours is definitely helping. And you know, just taking it one day at a time. So at first I was like not sure if I should even be around the kids and things like that. And I kind of steered clear. I just made sure everything was like super clean. I steered clear as much as I could, being a mom. So I'm just gonna blend this out a little bit. So, like I said, I'm still waiting. I did call my doctor today. I left a message because nobody's answering, which I get. Everybody's probably like bombarded. So I'm not complaining or anything. I'm just gonna go back in with the Juvia's Place at number 16, and I am going to highlight. And I kind of bring that down to like a triangle. And then I kind of like swipe to where I want my line to go on my eyes, or where I want to cut. My eyes. So yeah, so I bring that down, do that here. So I'm just grateful that I'm feeling a little bit better. This whole thing has been taking a toll on me, and I'm sure it's taking a toll on you guys. And I'm just trying to keep doing things like this amongst other stuff to keep me busy. And girl, my nails, if you haven't seen my last video, go click on the last video for my poly gel nails at home while in quarantine. Keep them nails done. And all that stuff, well, most of it I already had, but some of it I did not, and I ordered from Amazon. And at that time, they still had reasonable delivery dates. I don't know what they look like now, but they're linked in the description of that video. As far as this book, like, you could do this. What would you have at home? I'm gonna just kind of like buff that. I don't really like a harsh line. Buff that out a little, just a little bit. So I'm just trying to do things to kind of like make me feel better at home. Still feel like I'm interacting. I really feel bad for the kids mostly. This is completely new for everybody really, but I feel like it's harder to deal with if you're a child. I don't know why, but I do. The whole homeschooling thing, struggle. It's a struggle, but come Monday, it'll look a little different because we'll have our distance learning going on. And I'm hoping that'll make it a lot easier. Just trying to keep a routine for the kids, schedule for the kids. I feel like the hardest part of the schedule, and I'm pretty good at this, like bedtime, like my whole family knows I'm pretty good about like keeping on a strict bedtime for my kids and stuff like that, but sleep has been like off for everybody, including myself. I haven't been able to sleep. Like the other night when I did my first hand on my nails, I started that at 3:30 at night, or in the morning I should say. I started that at 3:30 because I couldn't sleep and my anxiety was getting the best of me, and I figured it would probably be best to get something, do something to distract me rather than lay there and have my mind race. So I got up and I did that, and it did help. It definitely helped. So I would suggest obviously keeping your mind busy. So now I'm going to go in with Sasha Buttercup setting powder. And I'm going to still use my Real Techniques brush on the pointy side. And I am going to set my under eye and let that bake. So while I am happy that I am like starting to feel better and stuff like that, I'm still like anxious to figure out if I have it or not, or if I had it or not. And I feel like what makes everybody most anxious is not knowing what's to come. Like if I do, or if I did have it, or if I do have it, is there a possibility where I could get it again? Am I immune now? Now I also wasn't the only one in the household having symptoms. A couple other people were. But I was the one having the issue with the breathing. So yeah, just a bunch of unanswered questions. So I'm gonna let that bake. I'm gonna take this brush and I'm gonna go back into that same palette and use Burkina again to contour. And I'm gonna blend that up into my highlight just a little bit. And I'm gonna bring it onto my forehead. So if any of you have been tested, let me know. What was your experience? Did you get your results back yet? How were you feeling? What were your symptoms? Because I've noticed like the range of symptoms has increased since we initially kind of heard about this whole thing coming to the US. I'm gonna just contour a little bit down here on my chin because, girl, the quarantine eating is in full effect. So we need as much slimming power as we can. I'm not a big nose contour person. I like my nose. I'm okay with my nose. So we've got a good kind of like smoky brown eye. And I'm gonna go underneath my bottom lash line with Burkina and Zulu, like a reddish brown color. And I'm gonna heavily shade that in. So anyway, the other day my cousin and I had a watch party. There's this new movie on Netflix called Uncorked. Me and her both love wine, so it's right up our alley, and I am actually sipping on some Merlot right now. And it was good. It was really good. I couldn't hang. I think I fell asleep like the last 10 minutes of the movie, so that's not bad. But I couldn't hang. It was hard. Like, first of all, I feel like kids know when you're trying to have like some adult time, so they purposely try to ruin it. And that was definitely in full effect yesterday. But it didn't ruin anything. I still had a really good time. And it made me feel like I was in the movie theater with my friends. So that was nice. I'm just going to highlight a little bit on my inner corner. And I'm going to bring that down to just the inner corner of that bottom lash line. And I think I'm going to bring that a little bit into the brow bone area and just sweep it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just sweep it. Alright, so while we are still baking, I am going to, I already have lip gloss on, but I'm going to line my lips with that same liner that I put on my brows, that same cheap liner. I think this is Wet n Wild. If it's not Wet n Wild, it might be e.l.f. And this is a little darker than I would like, but it'll work. So at first, I took this whole thing seriously like the whole time, but not as serious as I probably should have the entire time. Like as the days went by, as more information came out, obviously I took it more and more serious. Lips have been like my go-to look lately as far as like a brown liner and a nude gloss. So pretty. So you want to kind of blend that in a little bit. And then I'm going to take my NYX, what is this? Fortune Cookie lip gloss. And I'm going to put that right over the brown liner. So yeah. And then I'm going to take my Hair Store lip gloss by Broadway in Vita Lip Coconut Oil. I swear, Hair Store lip gloss is like the best. I like a sticky lip gloss. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. It lasts so long. So that is the lip. And again, still while this is baking, I'm actually gonna go in with my, what is this? MAC Sun Power. As my blush or bronzer. I'm just gonna take that on my cheeks with that same brush that we used to contour. So yeah, like I said, this is a scary time. It's a scary time, especially because it's a different time. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Now I'm going to take my Real Techniques 402 brush to kind of swipe away that highlight. So you don't want to do this too hard. Also don't want to do it too soft and be left behind with a bunch of glitter or powder. I kind of use this to also buff out that line a little bit more from my eyeshadow. Go around. So are you guys taking this serious? Oh, and you know what? One thing I did forget to do is I usually powder my brows first before I even fill them in. Because I feel like, well, I know, for me anyway, it definitely lasts longer for some reason to powder them first, to kind of like set them first and then fill them in. So we've got like the base of our makeup, nice neutral, very pretty. And I was gonna do lashes and all that extra stuff, but I'm not, because we just going to bed. What I am gonna do is, I was gonna do these lashes. These are just the cluster lashes by Ardell. What are they called? Ardell Lash Trios. I like these. My nails are dirty, so excuse them. But I really like these. And they're in short and medium. I thought I got short, medium, long, and I didn't. I'm not gonna do these tonight. I'm not. What I am gonna do is put on one of my favorite mascaras, and that is the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black in Carbon Black. Okay. So I actually just recently lifted my lashes so they look even better when I put mascara on them. And if you have not seen that video, please check it out. I always get mascara on my lids. So anyway, I'm gonna put this on my lashes, and it does just come out way better with the lift. So originally the lift didn't come out the way I would like because I didn't have any tint at home. So you can't really tell the difference unless you were like in my face in person. But when you put mascara on, you can tell a difference. And I kind of wish I did a mascara before and after for that video. But I didn't. So maybe when I do an update, if you want to update, I can do that. And I'm kind of like, I mean, there's days I rush my mascara, but I kind of am meticulous about it because I like to separate and fluff out my lash. Don't just go in and do this. You gotta separate the inner, twirl the middle, and wing out the ends. If you like me anyway. So, I actually did a poll on Instagram and I asked people what video they would like to see next. And the two options were, did you want to see my 4 kids wax me? My arms, maybe my legs, my underarms. Or would you like to see a story time, get ready with me, full face look? That's this. I'm gonna do both either way. But I started with this because I'm kind of nervous for the next. I'm gonna go back in with my setting spray, and this is by Hard Candy, and this is the Energizing Toner Refresher. So it's not really a setting spray, but I'm gonna make do. And I'm gonna use my mirror to fan. So this is a good like everyday kind of go-to look. gonna go in and actually do a little highlight. So I'm gonna take Tahia and Giza. Set that right on top of my cheekbone and bring it into like my brow bone. I swear I have like ADHD or something because I'm listening to YouTube while I'm filming a video because I don't know. That is the final look, and that is pretty much my story time. So for right now, I'm still waiting. I think it is great that, oh, I forgot to mention that I did have a low grade fever, but very low grade. And since then, I have not had any fever. So I think that is a great sign. And they also did tell me that because at one point I was coughing up phlegm, which is a good thing actually, because with pneumonia, as most of you know, it's just your fluid filling your lungs from your mucus, and it becomes like hard and very thick and hard to cough up, hard to bring up, and obviously very dangerous. So it was a good sign that I was able to cough some of that up, and hopefully I continue to cough up. But like I said, my lungs feel very clear. I've been drinking a lot of hot stuff, tea, coffee, even just hot water with what is it called? Rum? What is it? I didn't rum, I think. I don't know. It's some sort of dark liquor. I don't remember what it is. Pour that into my tea with some lemon, some soursop leaves, a little bit of what is it called? Elderberry, liquid elderberry, in a tea bag. Been sipping on that. Cough drops constantly. Water, I always drink water though, so that's nothing new, but I kind of upped my water intake a little bit. What else have I been doing? Vitamin C, echinacea, fish oil. Now echinacea, fish oil, and things like that I've been doing for forever. The elderberry is definitely new for me, but I think I'm gonna incorporate it in my everyday routine after all of this. And that is it. That is my story time, and I hope you guys are all kind of like taking precautions and you're being safe out there, and I wish you nothing but health, okay? And I'm gonna pray for every last one of you, just like I'm doing for my own family. So stay safe, keep your mind busy, be mindful of not just yourself and your family, but also be mindful of those around you. So stay at home when you can, okay? Stay home.